Okay, let's just be honest for a second here. What exactly does your inner critic sound like at, say, 2 a.m.? You know the voice I'm talking about. The one that suddenly reminds you of that incredibly awkward thing you said back in 2014, or just whispers that you're somehow not doing enough. Look, we all have it, but what if dealing with that voice isn't just about forcing yourself to think positive? Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to build a mental health toolkit from the absolute bottom up. We'll explore how to build genuine emotional resilience starting all the way down in your physical biology and then working our way right up to your mindset and your inner dialogue. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to systematically move through 5 essential steps: the biology of your mood, name it detainment, rewiring your inner critic, the power of self-compassion, and finally, knowing when to seek help. All right, section 1, biology of your mood. Let's dive right into the physical foundation. It's so absolutely crucial to validate your physical experience first because, let's face it, you simply cannot outthink a sleep-deprived brain. Your mental health and your physical health, they are deeply, deeply intertwined. Consider this for a moment. Why does a lack of rest completely derail your emotions? Well, science shows us that chronic sleep disruption actually impairs the function of your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain responsible for regulating your emotions. And at the exact same time, it heightens activity in your amygdala, your brain's fear center. So on a purely biological level, missing sleep literally makes you more emotionally reactive and physically less resilient to stress. And this brings us to a foundational concept, your circadian rhythm. When this internal 24-hour master clock is aligned, getting light exposure during the day and actual darkness at night, it promotes the healthy release of cortisol for daytime energy and melatonin for restful sleep. But when it's disrupted, it triggers absolute hormonal chaos. You end up wired at night and exhausted during the day, which directly fuels mood instability and anxiety. Dr. Beata Lewis calls this the triad of lifestyle psychiatry. Think of it as an interconnected ecosystem. Quality sleep replenishes your neurotransmitters. Solid nutrition stabilizes your blood sugar to prevent those anxious, irritable crashes. And speaking of nutrition, did you know your gut microbiome actually produces about 95% of your body's serotonin? It's wild. Finally, regular exercise mimics the fight or flight response, but in a safe context, which actively trains your nervous system to handle physiological stress efficiently. Moving on to section 2, name it to tame it. Now that our biological baseline is set, let's step into a fascinating psychological concept known as emotional granularity. Listen to the difference between a vague emotion and a highly granular one. When we just say, I'm stressed, our brain often reacts impulsively. Maybe we withdraw or maybe we snap at someone. But when we pinpoint it and say, I feel unappreciated for my efforts, we've suddenly given ourselves clarity. We've moved from a knee-jerk reaction right into thoughtful problem solving. And this isn't just some clever communication trick. It's hardwired neuroscience. Research by Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett shows that accurately labeling your emotions literally increases activity in your prefrontal cortex and dials down the amygdala's alarm bells. By naming the emotions specifically, you're giving your brain a precise framework to manage the stress. You actually gain a sense of control, rather than just feeling like you're drowning in overwhelm. Section 3, rewiring your inner critic. Let's talk about how to tame those automatic negative thoughts. When those automatic negative thoughts, or ants as they're sometimes called, pop into our heads, they often lock our brain into a fixed mindset where we honestly believe we're just stuck this way. But Carol Dweck's famous research on the growth mindset shows us we can literally water and grow new neural pathways. In fact, teaching adolescents about the malleability of the brain, neuroplasticity, can actually decrease depressive symptoms and significantly speed up their emotional recovery after a stressful event. Your brain can change, and so can your reactions. So, how do we actually change them? Through a structured process called cognitive reframing. First, you have to catch the thought as it's happening. Second, play the detective. Ask yourself, what actual evidence supports this catastrophic thought? And third, form an alternative, balanced interpretation. Now, to be clear, you aren't forcing toxic positivity here. You're just looking for a realistic, evidence-based truth that isn't clouded by a temporary bad mood. Section 4, the power of self-compassion. The absolutely crucial point here is learning how to soften that inner critic when things don't go according to plan. This is where self-compassion comes in as the ultimate binding agent for true emotional resilience. Dr. Kristen Neff's pioneering research reveals a game-changing distinction.
We so often confuse self-esteem with self-compassion. But look at the difference. Self-esteem requires you to feel good about yourself, which means it completely collapses right when you experience a failure or a setback. Self-compassion, on the other hand, is simply treating yourself like a struggling friend. It doesn't require you to feel good. Actually, it activates and works exactly because things are difficult. Dr. Neff breaks self-compassion down into 3 interlocking elements. There's self-kindness, offering yourself warmth instead of harsh judgment. There's mindfulness, holding your painful thoughts in a balanced way without trying to suppress them. But the most vital one here is common humanity. It's the powerful reminder that struggling, making mistakes, feeling pain, these are shared human experiences. It dissolves that isolating illusion that you are somehow uniquely broken or defective.
Let's look at how this plays out in real life. Here's the panicky, fixed mindset voice of the inner critic responding to a typical work failure. I totally botched that presentation. I'm not cut out for this job. This is a voice we all know way too well, right? It activates our nervous system's threat response, pumping out cortisol and making us want to fight or flee. Now, contrast that with the self-compassionate response to the exact same event. That was genuinely hard, but struggling with one presentation doesn't mean I'm not capable. Do you see what happened there? By stepping back and treating yourself the way you would treat a good friend, you immediately calm that threat response. It allows you to ask, what do I actually need right now? Which paves the way for genuine learning and growth rather than just spiraling into shame. And finally, section 5, knowing when to seek help. Because as we build our mental toolkit from our sleep habits all the way up to our self-compassion, we absolutely must weave in a safety net.
According to the National Institute of Mental Health and the JED Foundation, everyone goes through rough patches. But it's time to seek professional support if you experience these severe warning signs across your thoughts, behaviors, or physical body, and they disrupt your daily life for 2 weeks or more. If you're withdrawing, feeling totally hopeless, or experiencing extreme physical fatigue that a good night's sleep just won't fix, that is your signal to reach out to a doctor or therapist. And I want to make sure this number is permanently etched into your toolkit. 988 is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It is free, it's confidential, and it's available 24/7 via call or text. If you or someone you know is in severe distress or having suicidal thoughts, this is the immediate safety net. You literally do not have to do this alone. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought directly from the journal prompts we reviewed today. What is one expectation or self-criticism you can let go of tonight so you can rest? Take a moment to genuinely answer that for yourself. Apply that self-compassion, give your biology the rest it needs, and remember that building emotional resilience is a practice you get to renew every single day. Keep learning, keep growing, and please, be kind to yourself.